Hey everybody, welcome back to Astrology Unplugged. It is a special day today, and it's not because it's January 1st, 26, although that too, but we're celebrating our very own Rick today. I was thinking about tonight's episode and I was really melancholy. I was really nostalgic and also little spurts of happiness that come in when I think about Rick. Rick, to me, I'll talk about him in a little bit, but tonight is all about celebrating him on his special birthday. And, ironically, I have his chart up and I don't know how old he would have been, but it doesn't matter. He's actually timeless. So I'm sure he's actually here with us tonight. He's been here all along. And what I know about Rick and what he shared with me, and we have wonderful folks joining us tonight on, that knew him a lot more than I did. So it's great to have you all. To our YouTubers, thank you for joining us. Whenever you may be joining us, this channel is about Rick DiClemente and his work and all his life's work, which we're excited to continue. But tonight being his birthday, he was born on January 1st. I have a early around 8-ish in the morning birth time. And from what he shared with me is that he kind of had to do a little digging on his birth time because his mom was in labor in transit or something. He had a very unconventional birth, from what I understand. So it kind of fits in with the whole birth time question. But he was able to do a little legwork. And for the folks that are here tonight, if I'm getting this wrong, please correct me because this is just from what I remember. So he was born, I want to say on the way to the hospital. I'm not sure, but very much in Rick's style. I was telling our very own Rick C here, he had a very Uranian energy about him, as well as Saturnian. So if you know the planets, you know that Uranus is kind of anything can happen. Anything can happen at any moment. And that is really encompasses a lot of what I thought about him and his personality. But at the same time, here's a person that is really Uranian and also very much like his ruling planet, which was Saturn. So this being an astrology podcast that, this is what we talk about here. And Saturn is kind of like the archetypal father, right? Like take responsibility and dutiful and liked a certain amount of structure and was going to do the right thing and was going to do what he felt was the right thing. Those are really not opposing energies, but they're very different from each other. But yet he was both, to me at least. He had such a silly, outlandish streak and then pretty, just do what you're supposed to do type of person. And it's part of his beauty. And just like human beings, there's just not any one, we're such a kaleidoscope of all of those energies and every single one of them in his chart. And we'll look at his chart because I really want to take the time to look at his chart tonight and see, what made him him. And if you were lucky enough to know Rick personally, then you knew that he was a very unique and loving person. And what greater words to leave if you include the word love in the anywhere near your name, you did something right. And that's how I see him. I'm not sure, how you all know every single person that's here tonight, how you all know him, but I do remember, and he still lives very much inside my brain, my psyche. I hear his voice, telling me certain things. It's just so sweet. And sometimes I go, oh shit, what would Rick say? Because I know when I'm up, one of the things about Rick that he always was very much, just be yourself. whatever it is, be fully that. And I
That was the
always,
lovely grasp he had of the Iranian.
yeah. Oh, that's really true. Whatever it is, because you can't really escape the truth. And the truth will always surface, right? So as we studied and we would meet once a week, and this week, this very week, well, what day is today? Today's Thursday. This week I've been looking at some of our videos that, from us getting together once a week and some of Unplugged. And gosh, I just miss him terribly and I hear his voice, but I'm so grateful for technology because I have him captured saying, you know, telling me about this transit that I'm currently living right now. And I just go, oh my God, how this is wonderful that I have him on camera talking to me about Uranus crossing my ascendant and my Chiron return and how that was going to pan out and so and their relationship and how these energies play out in our lives and the transits and what they're doing with us, through us instead of happening to us like sometimes we tend to think, right? So tonight I definitely want to take a little bit of a stroll down memory lane. If anybody does want to share anything about their experience with Rick, because this is really all about him, his work, but him as a friend, him as a father, him as a neighbor, him as a partner, whatever it was. You know, I knew him in a certain way, and I knew him as a teacher. He was my mentor. Um, there's a few minutes I want to take later on about, when I don't know how many of you know about synastry, but synastry, and it doesn't have to be, just romantic, it's anybody. There's a certain dynamic playing out, right? With me and Jane, me and Rick, me and my daughter, so, and it's so, it's the same with all of us. And with Rick and I had something very special, very, very unique. And I remember thinking the first time he read for me, I remember thinking, I got off the phone with him and I thought, oh my gosh, I feel like he's going to be really important to me. And in the next couple of weeks after that, I realized he's going to be my teacher. And my North Node is in Sagittarius at 17 degrees, and his Mercury is at Sagittarius at 17 degrees. And we were just constant exchange of ideas, constant great rapport. Mercurial energy can also be just fun and curiosity, learning from each other. Of course, in this case, I learned so much from him. But it was so significant to me when I first realized it. And there's a couple of other things as well. But the mark that somebody makes on your heart, that's probably the biggest synastry, and that's what he did for me. He changed me that in the best way. And I think that's what he tried to always one of the videos that I watched recently with him this week, he said, you want to let people go when they leave you, that they feel so good about themselves, that they feel more like their sun energy. If anything, they feel like their sun energy. And with that, hopefully, some confidence, some good, like, hey, I'm good the way I am. It doesn't matter about, I lost my job, I'm getting a divorce. It doesn't matter. I'm good just the way I am. And I felt like he really did leave people. When you interacted with him, you felt better. So who here felt better after interacting with him? I mean, it's one of those things, yeah, that after a time, it was like, I hate to say it, and he wasn't my therapist, but every time I see my therapist, I feel better. With Rick, he wasn't my therapist. He never pretended to be my therapist, but I felt like beyond therapy, it was inspiration. It was, wow. Not only am I inspired, I feel like somebody has just instilled in this love of self, eh, what could be better, right? So
Absolutely. I
yeah.
find a lot of fun in what he did
Oh yeah.
and a lot of celebrating of what he was able to point out within different individuals through their chart because he could see stuff that although it's a part of our inner being, we don't see it from that outward perspective because we're inside.
Right.
And the other person, people around us see it. And when he brought me to a realization about information and communication being very key for me, I had a conversation later with a young 30 something who had uh, studied life coaching.
Uh-huh.
And I told him, I just had this amazing epiphany that I'm an information analyst and communicator. And he said, well, Rick, I could have told you that. But people are not telling us what they see within us. We don't
Right.
always, we think they do it so effortlessly, they must know.
They must know. Yes, 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 yes.
And so much of our brilliance is so normal to us. So
Yeah,
much of our normal is exquisite, as
yeah.
the Zodiac, as Rick tried to point out. And I think some of the best astrology points individuals to the greatest parts of themselves that is absolutely fantastic. And he tried his best to do that with people in a reading
Oh gosh, yeah.
and
Yeah,
succeeded far more than he
yeah.
struggled ever. Because I don't recall him being at a loss for words often.
No, no,
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
It
no,
was meant to be funny.
in a good way. Yeah, yeah. It's true. I was watching a video earlier this week and he was telling me about something that might be a good idea for me to do. And he said, you're very, you just have a natural enthusiasm. And I don't ever think about that. I don't ever think, so what you're saying to your point, Rick, I don't think about that, but maybe that's a good thing that I can highlight. And and the same goes for every single one of you here. There's something about you that makes you uniquely you and he could see it and maybe we kind of just, you know, I don't know if taking for granted is the right phrase, but you know what I'm saying. You just don't even, it's almost like you walk by the same wall every day and you miss the painting that's there. Uh, we're immune to it. But that's,
Well, I had equate it to this analogy I give where you put your arms out as far as you can see with your peripheral vision, and that's basically the full sum of what you see about yourself, but there's how much more of you beyond
oh,
that you
yeah,
just cannot see.
yeah.
But other people see us from different sides, different angles, and that's what makes amazing self discoveries when we get to hear what other people see and think and observe.
Yeah, yeah. And because of astrology being such you're consulting, you're one-on-one with somebody, you are having the opportunities to have those conversations. But other than that, when do you do that? What
Right.
I'm not, unless you're consciously surveying somebody. But I'd love to hear any thoughts from anybody else regarding, you know, what what you think made Rick
Oh, I'd like to say
special in
something.
your
First
life.
of all,
Great.
am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you,
Okay.
Taylor. Go for it.
Well, it's lovely to see everybody, first of all. And I'd like to introduce my dear Elaine, um, who did not get to meet Rick, unfortunately. We got together right after Dad passed, but I'm sure they would have loved each other.
Taylor, can
I,
you
I haven't
turn your
had a,
volume up, please?
yeah.
Thank you, honey.
Elaine didn't get a chance to meet Rick, but I think they would have loved each other.
Mhm.
I haven't had the heart to go watch the old videos yet, but I'll show her sometime. And
Oh yeah.
his personality's all there and his wisdom.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to respond to what you said, Claudia, earlier. You were talking about reconciling Uranus,
Yes.
which is a lightning strike of inspiration. It is
Hmm.
something that is unpredictable or out in left field. And
Yeah.
Saturn, which is this like arch conservative um, kind of opposite of that. Do it right and make sure all the trains
Yeah.
run on time.
Right.
How he did it when he raised me and mom too.
Uh-huh.
Um, I he let me do what I want. That's the
Mm.
Uranus. He wanted me
Hmm.
to be myself. And when I wasn't stepping up, the Saturn would kick in and he would help. And
Hmm.
that's what he did with his clients. I listened to him read for his clients,
Yeah.
and he read for me for years. He would. His goal was Uranian. He wanted people to grow forth naturally of their own free will and embody their potential.
Right.
If they weren't doing it, if they were hiding their head in the sand, or if they were blocked or stuck or whatever, he would come in with the crowbar, and that's the Saturn.
Yeah.
These were not these were not opposites. They worked together.
Want to know a house is hit.
I can't hear anybody. Sorry, there's a glitch. What's that?
I think that was just somebody's background noise, but yeah. Yeah, no,
Okay.
continue. But I'm so, you're so right. They worked sometimes, well together. Sometimes you needed that Saturn. Sometimes,
Yeah, he would break out the Saturn when he needed to,
yeah.
but it was subservient to a bigger goal.
Yes. Yes.
That's how I try to be too.
That's
And
a
I think
great
we
way of
can all
putting it.
think about who's serving whom in our charts, you know?
Mhm.
That that's what I got.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Something wise for us to all remember, who's serving whom in our charts. And when. Sometimes you need that. You can't and this is one of the things I appreciated about him. I was telling my daughter, I don't want somebody to just yes me. I want somebody to be honest with me. And Rick was honest with me and everybody else. If he felt that the time called for him cracking the whip, then that's what he would do. And that,
Yep.
I'll be honest, not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do that. I mean, he had it innately, he did it naturally. That was part of who he was. But
Yep.
uh, not everybody can do that. And he would say, I'm purposely doing this. I'm purposely exaggerating this point because I want you to see that this is how it'll look if you continue, blah, blah, blah. And that's in service of the chart, in service of helping you, honestly, because
Exactly. That's
that is a
Saturn
bigger
well
purpose.
used.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm sure anybody that remembers seeing him online, seeing his face, you'll remember certain times where he would move into the camera, eyes would get bigger,
Yes.
and maybe a statement or a question could come
Yeah.
out very directly,
Oh yeah. Oh
with a
yeah.
lot of unique mannerisms that were just coming out.
I know. It's great. Yes. He would do that. That's awesome.
And
That's
he'd
great.
ask a question as like, so what are you going to do about it? You
Right.
know,
How's that working for you?
yeah, that's my spin on it that I've been using for years.
Oh gosh. No, but it's true. And that is a good way of putting it, of looking at it through the lens of, it's not, they're not competing energies.
Mm-mm.
It's finding the right way to use both,
You
which
know,
is,
it kind of puts me in mind of the left and right hemispheres of the brain.
mm-hmm,
One is more concrete and structured, and one just moves in between the structures
mm-hmm.
and finds things that were hiding, that were brilliant, that when the light hits, it explodes with meaning.
Yes. Yes.
Or as
Yeah,
Taylor said, the lightning strikes.
totally. Yeah. He had he had Rick and I were talking about, Rick C were talking about the innovation in his work. Uh because
Courageous innovation.
yeah, I don't know. I personally don't. He did, or others do, but I don't know anybody else that really looks at harmonics. I know no one else. That doesn't mean they're not out there, but they are, believe me, they're far and few between. In fact, most astrologers don't even know what that is.
And I find it done also in a box, the way it was originally taught. And he followed his Uranian impulse,
Mm,
and he would do some different things with it.
yeah.
That how could they enlighten us if they weren't valid?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And he took it, he really experimented. And I'd love to hear if anybody else here, I only knew him for like 6 or 7 years. Okay. So some of you go way back. So you'll see the trajectory of his work and how he started. Like, I'm thinking, when did he discover harmonics? When did that become a thing for him? Was it something that really hit him out of nowhere? Was it a slow thing? Just the same thing with Eris. Again, nobody else is talking about Eris. Now I'm seeing more, but still, there are really not that many astrologers talking about the significance of Eris in our charts, in our collective at all. So we're lucky that we had somebody we personally knew that would recognize us, the meaning of this really powerful planet. Um, and I'm not sure, I guess, yeah, Liza will tell us maybe a little bit about that.
Well, I remember, I think that an astrologer named John Addy was
Mm-hmm.
talking about harmonics,
Yeah.
and that would have been, and I know Rick referenced John Addy, and I think about the time that Rick started talking about and investigating harmonics, it would have been like about the mid 2000s,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Okay.
when it was about the time that we started working on the book, I think. So
Okay.
just to clarify, that's some clarification. Um, and you were talking about, what was the other subject you were talking about there,
Eris.
Paris? Um, hmm, it was pretty. I mean, I guess a lot of people weren't talking about it or knew about it when he started exploring it, and I'm trying to remember how he even found out about Eris, but that was probably like, I would say the late, like, like 2010, 2010. It was after he started working with the harmonics. I think I'm
Yeah.
thinking it was maybe 2015, 16, somewhere around there for Eris,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
if that helps.
Yeah. Because that's really, I'm curious to see how this will evolve with Eris being incorporated into astrologers' charts. I'm
Yeah,
still not seeing too many people do that.
well, he would be delighted to know that you guys are exploring it and testing it,
Oh yeah.
because he wanted you to carry on his work.
Yeah.
He really did. So,
Yeah. 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 I remember the first time I ever heard about Eris, he had pointed something out in my chart, and I did not pay much mind to it for a few months. And then it just kind of hit me. Whoa, okay. And then he started, you can go back some episodes and really showing the impact that it makes when you have a prominent Eris in your chart. People like Taylor Swift and like, I don't know, what's the Beatles, the Beatle, oh my gosh, Paul McCartney, uh, in reference to many things, not just musicians, just anything, a politician, a writer, anybody. It's really a big deal. It's like this, like, oh, I don't know what else to say except to go like this. And it gives whatever other planet it touches really a big oomph. In fact, maybe this is a good time to look at his chart.
While
Um,
you look that up, I do recall the last time he talked about Eris quite a bit in an episode that I was on.
uh-huh,
It hit me like a ton of bricks
uh-huh.
that the inscription, "Who is the fairest," on the apple thrown in between the goddesses
Mm-hmm.
was constantly referenced as to who was fairest of face. And
Right.
I went, oh, I've been missing fairness in the sense of justice.
Yes, yes,
And
that was a
Venus
total
itself
epiphany.
rules Libra, which is all about justice. And it it was very strange. And there's an Aries connection because it's considered a sister to Aries,
Yeah.
and there's a little bit of a similarity in the names, and it's that willingness to go to war
Oh yeah.
over justice.
Over
That
justice.
that's what raises up the Mars Aryan energy
Yeah.
to just dive in
Hmm.
and you know fight.
Gotta inter-
Right.
Sorry, I
Yes,
gotta
Steve.
interject. Callista
Sure.
means most beautiful.
Kalisa, is that what you said?
Callista, that's the Greek that
Oh,
was written on the apple. It means to the most
oh,
beautiful,
okay.
not the most just. Just gotta chime in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Excellent. I didn't make that connection at all, but yeah, I mean, that's why we wanted to put up his chart because I want to say he has something conjunct his Eris, and I can't remember it. I'm going to pull it up right now. We can have a look. Um, Give me 1 second. Okay, hopefully you can see. And if I can get all these bars out of the way. Okay, there it is. You see it at the bottom?
No.
Jupiter next to Eris right here at six
Black screen.
degrees. Say
There
it
it is.
again.
It's in. It's
Yeah.
up.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so here it is. It's Jupiter next to Eris in Aries. And Jupiter can
Strengthen,
oh yeah,
augment,
expand uh wisdom, teaching, expansion of consciousness, learning. And in Aries, I could see why these two things we just talked about, the Eris and as well as the harmonics, he is one of the first. I'm not saying he's the first, but that is pretty significant as his, signature of his body of work. Um, because, like I said, to this day, I don't really know that many. Once in a blue moon, I will hear an astrologer talk about Eris, and it's like they're all little by little, but it's happening rather slowly because I was young when Chiron was discovered, and apparently, I think Chiron was adopted faster, from what I understand, onto charts. So I think Chiron was discovered in 77, and I don't
Correct.
know how long it took astrologers to actually start integrating Chiron into their charts, but Eris was discovered, I want to say in 2005, and maybe some of us can check me. Some of you guys can check me because I'm not on the, I mean, I can't do this, share my screen and go to Google at the same time or look it up. But, this is 26 now. So it's been a decent amount of time and I don't hear. Regardless, so he had the moon in Pisces and conjunct the North Node. And in fact, when I met Rick, it was after my first reading. I walked away thinking, I wonder if his North Node's in Pisces. Because I felt like this man is really walking the spiritual walk. No, walking the spiritual talk. That's what I meant to say. And this is a really, it, it's very significant to me for him to have his moon next to his north node. It's like a, a punctuation mark of that real compassion and real being a servant of God, or yeah, the divine love, real love. Real love doesn't always look like, come here, let me give you a hug. It looks like whatever serves love at that moment. At least that's how I think about it. So to me, that's pretty big in his chart, as well as this right here. Let me get my little pencil out. This opposition that I think we touched on in the beginning, this Uranus opposing his sun. I mean, if that's a tight opposition. So like Taylor said, um, I mean, he had this, I like to think that the outer planet was stronger. So in this case, Uranus is stronger than Saturn. It doesn't mean that it's more important or less important, but it does have a lot of weight to it. So his sun opposing Uranus is going to be uh, pretty maybe more obvious. That serves a bigger purpose. Um, and that's when he used his Saturn well, where, like Taylor said, he let you to have somebody in your life that truly just wants you to be you because they understand the significance of you were created to be you and nobody else. Period. No excuses, end of story. Why are you trying to be anything but? That's pretty special because not everybody is like that. Uranian people tend to hold that in very high regard. Um, and the fact that he had Chiron also next to his sun, this is a, this could, at times may have been difficult to live with, but ultimately he had a healing or had to find the healing within himself, right? In order to help others. And you notice that Chiron is next to the sun. And he used to tell me, and Rick C. and I have talked about this, uh, w- however you see Chiron expressing in your chart, you're usually going to try to help others with that very same theme. So his identity being his son next to Chiron, he wanted people to feel good about who they were. Uh, so that's a big signature of somebody that has a very and look at it's a Capricorn. So he took it seriously and was pretty committed to that. And if he had to take out his attorney in ways, then he would. Uh, all in keeping in mind the bigger picture, the bigger service, the bigger, greater good. Let me erase this so I don't get confused because sometimes I confuse my own self. Um, we had talked about one time about this and how Saturn conjunct Mars conjunct Neptune. This is not easy to live with. But he learned to make peace with these planets that seem quite like strange bedfellows to each other. Um, Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, what you're pointing at right now is interesting in the light of his early work as a filmmaker, because the ninth house deals with filmmaking. The energy of his chart being indicated by Mars, that's where you put a lot of your energy and focus. And it's also for the college years. There it is, along with that Saturn T square to the Sun Uranus opposition, with Uranus in the sixth dealing with work, is both computers and astrology,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's all very intriguing. And that Sun Chiron conjunction in the 12th is bringing in some focus of hidden things. And his work in Appalachia was absolutely shining a light as a number of his different film works, I guess, would have been doing in ways that previously would not have happened had they not been highlighted through filmmaking. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
it's definitely interesting.
oh yeah. Even the planet that all this business is in, this is Libra, which is ruled by Venus. Uh, which to me is things that hold value and beauty, um, like the arts, absolutely. Maybe it's a it. I mean, to me personally, the arts are invaluable. It's what makes life part of the beauty of life. It's not just, the necessities, what makes life enjoyable. And such as his creative pursuits, his creativity, uh, and his work with film, totally. Um, and the ninth house is also, uh, again, teaching, learning, uh, one of the spiritual houses. I mean, there's quite a bit here about uh, his spirituality definitely being more, not more, but being prominent in his life. And maybe as he got older, it definitely changed. I felt when I was talking to him in the last, I don't know, couple of years, that he had what he would be calling just just giving it all up. Like give it like completely surrendered. Completely surrendered in a way that I don't fully understand yet, maybe, but he always said, it all starts in your 60s. It just gets much better then. So I look forward to that. But I saw it like come alive in him, where the wisdom that was coming out of him was, yes, I saw it and felt it, but I knew that it was something that you had to experience, and he was doing it. He was doing it in real time. And one of the things that, I don't know what it's like to be 60, 70 years old and maybe to have health be a concern at different times. That's a unique story. It's a unique thing to have to contend with. So it almost expedited his surrendering to whatever God had in store for him, whatever God wanted for him. Uh, I'm sure not easy, but I find that's sometimes what happens, especially when I've talked to my older friends who are like really, they just go, none of this matters. None of this matters, you know? Uh, so let me see what else we see here. One thing I never,
Claudia,
yeah.
we were talking about all the stuff in the ninth house and about the arts and expression and everything. And I don't know if everybody here knows, some of you do, of course, that Rick spent a good time as a photographer. And
Oh,
he also was part of oh, and I can't remember the name of it. Ann and Taylor would know the program where he went into Appalachia to help record traditional songs and people singing them. And this photograph, which I don't think I don't know if you can make it bigger, is a photograph of Rick
yeah.
holding a camera and I think a microphone. Uh, and this was a guy that he recorded him making chairs in Appalachia. This was
Mm-hmm.
actually on the cover of Help Me, Ann and Taylor. I think it was Time magazine at the time when it came out. So he really did make his mark as far as preserving the arts in Appalachia there. So I just thought you
Yeah,
guys might like to see
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
the program was Apple Shop.
There you go.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So
To promote the arts in Appalachia.
Oh,
Mhm.
how
and
wonderful.
And
he
that
did he made
gentleman,
some
he's
short
filming.
films there and took some photographs that are part of the archives now for Apple Shop and still do it's still a live program that does preserve
Mm-hmm.
the arts and Rick's contributions to that are still out there. So
Mhm.
The gentleman in the picture with him is the subject of his movie Chairmaker.
mhm.
Ah, yeah. Anita had told us about this.
Yeah, Anita was there with him.
That's right. Yeah. And that we should look it up. Like you can go online and look this up. And I don't, maybe I did and I don't remember, but uh I do need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's online.
Yeah. That would be that would be great. Because he was known, well, yeah, he was known when I knew him as his work with astrology, but he went on quite a journey there.
Yeah.
Which is
But it
lovely.
reflects the things that you were talking about in his chart that he did that kind of work as well. So I thought you'd want to
Yeah,
see.
exactly.
Right.
I want to say there's something ninth house about working in these media that he did in film, in audio recording, in radio, and then later with the internet boom, and then working over Zoom.
Yeah,
These are all It's all spooky action at a distance. I mean, these are all non-linear ways of communicating across long distances.
right.
That's very ninth house, I think.
You're absolutely right. Reaching beyond. Yeah.
I wanted to ask,
That ninth house is also something that factored into his style of working with individuals because I watched him talk about it at times where I and I know myself, I'm always looking at the same thing. Um, how does your soul experience spirituality, having nothing to do with what you were raised to believe? But where are you spiritually moving forward? That's very ninth house.
Yes. Yes. Very much so. Yeah. Um,
I wanted to say one more thing. Don't mean to hog the mic.
no,
You talked
please.
about his Piscean nature being of service to God.
Hmm.
That's right, but there's no hierarchy. This is not the Roman Catholic God or any other. This is no external force that is separate from us. And his message was, we are divine and we are God. And his the wall he was beating his head against for his whole life was trying to get people to realize their own spark of divinity.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And he came to uh, really resent the church for teaching people that they need a middleman and
Yeah.
teaching people that they're little nothings. He wanted everybody to own their agency in life and to not accept any message that they were anything less than what they were.
Can I just say thank you, Taylor? I didn't know your dad very long, but I remember a reading he did for me, and I'd come from a pretty fundamentalist Christian background and had sort of just gotten right away from it. And he said something in the reading where he said, "Look, I mean, I got that sense from him too, Taylor, that it was like, you have it all in you."
Yeah.
um, there is, to work out. But then, of course, he had that wonderful way of guiding because of his wisdom and knowledge and intuition, everything. He said something that got me, and I think it was probably because of my sort of Christian background. But he said, "Jane, you're you're not speaking to me. You are here. You're speaking to the Holy Spirit." And he said, because basically I'm here telling you what you need to hear, but it's not necessarily me speaking. And that really hit home for me how I was just that he was, I don't know, he was downloading as well as his own knowledge. Do you know what I mean? It just this beautiful sense that he was downloading what was, yeah, God,
So are you.
love, divine source. Thank you, darling. But that was just so beautiful. It was just got me. Thanks, Taylor.
This is We've had 2,000 years of Christian culture, and somehow this has fallen through the cracks.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not trying to preach here, but Jesus Christ said, "Cleave a piece of wood, and I am there." He said, "Look within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you." And we've got this whole crazy hierarchy of reporting to the higher ups and bowing and scraping, and he was just trying to get rid of that to make people feel good about themselves. I'm glad he touched you. I'm glad that the message
He
was
did.
delivered. There's no
It,
separation between you and he or me or anybody else. It's all God.
yes, Taylor. Thank you. It was lovely. Just got tingles. Thank you.
I get the impression that what drew him to A Course in Miracles has more to do with that idea of getting the hierarchy out of there.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's got its own can of worms. That's pretty wrapped
Sure,
up in the CIA MK Ultra program. Don't trust everything you read.
but I think he was working with it in a better way. Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Well, at my desk in my house, I'm not home right now, but I have a couple of his things that he has quoted that I just try to remember when I get a little bit off kilter, which is, and one of them is I have a sticky note and where he said, uh, "You are God looking through your eyes," and there is no better. Like we could just end this right now because it says it all. uh, and it is just it's a very simple sentence. It's a very simple thing, but encompasses everything that you just said, Taylor and Jane. And he really he would get kind of he would get mad sometimes, like, this is all bullshit. Like, what are you talking about? This is, we are all expressions. We are all God ourselves. Um, and I kind of used to, he definitely made his point a lot of times because he was mad, he'd get upset that people were buying into this idea that somebody needs to come by and tell you, oh, you're okay because you go to church. You're okay because you do the, and he'd say, nah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he didn't want to be that person either. I mean, he was teaching a lot of people, and he built up a big following. But he wasn't trying to do the guru thing. He was trying to
Right.
empower people to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a hard position to be in, I think. But I think he would trust
He
that
found
the
a
people who
balance in it.
really listened would know and understand.
Yes, yes.
I,
And
I,
he'd say to me, honey, don't even listen to me. You got to listen to your own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can tell you that there was no ego in what he did. He really had his felt his purpose was really to empower other people. I
Mm,
mean, I can tell you that for sure.
wow. Yeah, that is, we saw, well, at least I saw it in the way he worked with people here with this group, and just in any other area where I saw him interact with folks, which is great. Let's have a look at his 12th harmonics. Speaking of harmonics.
While you're pulling that up, all this discussion in the past couple minutes made me think of him sharing that cute little quip that seems like the hallmark of the anti-guru. Gee, you are you.
Yes, the anti-guru. I love that. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of harmonics, we know that he used to introduce the 12th harmonic as your spiritual transcript, meaning, this is the 12th harmonic is where the not the footprint, the blueprint of your soul and spiritually where you are, your challenges, your lessons, your gifts. Um, and there's going to be some connection between the 12th harmonic and your natal chart. Why he'd say to you, why did you decide to put, all these planets together? Why did you decide to put these? Because we did, because, like Taylor was saying, he wanted us to have our own agency because we do. So, in fact, sometimes he would, I was talking to a friend and I was telling him, sounds like you're saying that so and so is keeping you from doing something, but to a certain extent, aren't you blocking your own self? And Rick would note that, that we actually block our own selves or we choose. We don't think about it. We do it subconsciously. So here's his 12th harmonic and so if it was Rick talking to Rick, he'd say, "Why did you put all these planets here? Why this opposing this and blah blah blah." And it's because there are these spiritual themes, lessons, and not just spiritual, that are you're going to come into this chart with the natal chart to complete a lesson, a story, or continue it, maybe. So here we have, I mean, the first thing I noticed with this 12th harmonic is like this ninth and third, ninth and third uh, opposition signature of teaching and learning, wisdom and practicality. And Rick had a pretty sharp mind. He wasn't just, what I'm trying to say is he can work with the practicalities and the uh, work with a computer as much as he could, talk to you about the divine in you. right? That's that's very specific. Uh, ninth and third house. I mean, it's not limited to just that, of course. Um, but these are pretty big planets to have in the ninth house, clustered together. Uh, Gemini and Sagittarius happen to also be the axis of teaching, learning, curiosity, sharing wisdom, sharing learnings, communicating. I mean, he was a communicator. He was a, you could give this guy the mic and it didn't matter whether you gave him a week or 30 seconds, he could run with it. Uh, that's not, not everybody's like that. So that's the first thing I notice, which is pretty potent in his personality, the way I saw him. Um, it- I always note planets at 0 degrees if there are any, and he had, you know, uh, the sun at 0 degrees. Um, in the 10th house in Leo. I mean, there was also sometimes I saw, and it would sneak out sometimes, this this little kid in him. To me, that's very Leo-like. Uh, it would sneak out, or maybe we just had a nice time together, and then I saw it. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm the only one. But this little kid, let's just have fun. But Leos can also be leaders.
as well as have their own share of a flair for the dramatic.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, and the nodes. My eyes seem to be going, is that in Taurus? But I probably wouldn't look at this in the 12th
Yeah.
harmonic.
Hmm.
Okay. Saturn in the 12th house. Uh, and it does square his Eris there. But I would probably if I was sitting here with Rick, I'd ask him, what what why did you put Saturn there? Why is it squaring Eris? Um, Saturn in the 12th house. I mean, to me, that says experiencing your lessons through some kind of isolation or hardship, maybe, but then really kind of coming to the point of really surrendering, like I said earlier. I didn't even look at this, but you know what I'm saying? The finally just, it's almost like an exhale. Okay, you know, I
Is
I do surrender in a good way.
is there something monastic about that? Like almost like living in a
Absolutely.
monastic cell, or living in a one street town, somewhere quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Monastic is a good way to put it.
What about
Um,
the fact that that's Virgo as well? Like that's really, isn't that someone that's just really meticulous and um yeah, wants to
it
get it,
can be, Jane, but
but
to
It
not
me,
also
this.
it's
connects with the goddess.
in being in service.
Ah, okay.
And so all those things apply, but the goddess for sure. Virgo, a lot of the way they function, oftentimes, even if it doesn't show it, is not only to uh, do things in the most ideal way or in the best way, but it is really truly they do want to help. They want to help. Mm, even if it doesn't look like it. They feel it, like if you know somebody with a lot of planets in Virgo, there is an element, even if it doesn't appear that way, there's an element of being of service to others or
That
to a
makes sense.
cause or to a
Yeah.
job or to whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so that makes a lot of sense to me. My gosh, that makes a lot of sense.
And he was
There's,
a technician with everything he did.
yeah, yes. I remember it was somebody on Unplugged that said when Rick did a reading for you, he was doing soul surgery on you.
Mhm.
And that rings pretty true to me because it would take him
That's
and he
great.
would tell you, yeah, he would tell you it takes me about 40 minutes. And then right at 40 minutes, he would go around the chart. He would teach me this all the time. Don't get too stuck on an idea. Yeah, so you saw that there, leave it there. And then you notice this other thing in the chart. You just play around with it. Don't get so fixated on something. And then around 40 minutes or an hour, he'd finally go, then he'd go, so why did you think your mother blah 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 blah? Or like he finally got to this thing that I've been, or anybody that it's like he was just opening you up like a book. And
Yeah.
and a lot of people really what happens when they come to a reading, they don't even consciously put words to a lot of the things they feel. And then somebody in front of them is saying, "Oh, well, why do you feel that you always need to, I don't know, serve others?" Or why, whatever the situation was, he would just be completely honest. And he was always so adamant about telling me, don't listen to what people say. Say what they're saying behind the words. And then the chart is the boss because the chart doesn't lie. People lie. People justify things, they lie to themselves, they lie to other people, not because they're bad people, because they're not ready to face things sometimes. And we all do it. I mean, who does? I mean, really, otherwise we wouldn't be alive. You know, when they're ready to hear something, that's the moment that they sit right in front of you. And what a beautiful thing to learn about. Because, uh, like Jane said, he knew he was just speaking through whatever came through him. He's not, he didn't claim to be all knowing. And he would tell me, oh my God, I screwed that up. Oh, I messed up that reading. Or because uh, he was honest with himself. So that's a great learning. That's a great learning I took. I mean, God, I have so many that I could just go on and on about what a great teacher he was.
I want to
Um,
say, sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
Sometimes he'd be given a reading to a new client, and he would look at the transits, and he would see that
Yeah.
the clients coming into his office would be
Coinciding.
symbolic of their opening up. Like when people were ready to confront something, they would come to him, and he would show them the mirror, and they would see it. He would watch it happen in real time. It was
In real
incredible.
time. Yeah. I so I have a friend, and this is all Rick right here. I have a friend who was going through something really heavy in his life. And I thought about Rick when this friend said to me, the alarm was going off for a few days in a row in his kitchen, and it
Right.
wouldn't stop and he couldn't fix it. And I thought, oh, okay. I didn't say anything, but I thought, oh, there's an alarm in your life.
That you don't
And
understand.
and it is, and Pluto was on his moon. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's, of course, sometimes when you're not in these circles, you say stuff like that and people are like, oh, okay, it's not, there's no connection, Claudia. The thing was out of batteries or something. I go, no, that's not it. Because I'm not saying, I'm sure it's not always like that, but listen with your whole self, your whole intuition, your whole being, because life is always talking to you. And he would always say, he'd go, that's not why your car, that's not why you had that dream about your car. That's not why. And I just loved it. Or he'd just say, oh, he'd just say it so matter of factly that you go, oh shit, I didn't think about it like that.
because we're conditioned to think of life as a bunch of separate things. If we think of it as one thing, then there is a connection between everything that happens. And
Yeah.
the alarm going off in the kitchen is not separate from
Right.
your inner
Yeah.
workings. If you allow yourself to believe in the idea that everything is connected and really one thing and indivisible, all of this stuff is permissible, and it becomes obvious when something's like that.
Yeah. Then it becomes obvious. You're right. It's not just this happenstance, random thing. Yeah. Um, Taylor, how wonderful to have a parent that you have. I'm sure you have wonderful parents that, to
Got
have this
got two
level
good
of
ones. I'm grateful.
understanding, and wisdom is like,
I was raised with it.
yeah, that's really, I mean, I'm telling you, it's very special. It's very special. So, why don't we have a look just for a few minutes? Rick C, do you want to have a look at
Some
the
charts.
yeah, yeah. Um we can look at yours, you can look at mine, or Liza, if you want to look at yours. What we're looking for is the synastry. Um,
Right.
you know what? I'll bring up mine and we'll see what feels natural after that. So like I said, I probably met him, I met Rick in 2019, and pretty early on it was quick, so I discovered him on the internet. And nobody had talked about astrology the way I saw him talk about astrology, but I didn't pay that much attention. And then 2 years later, I discovered a series that he did where he was walking through the signs. And again, it struck me like he's so real with it. I mean, he's just so real. There's no sometimes astrologers will talk a lot of like technical terms and they will just go around in circles. He just was very real and very relatable. The way that he was talking about Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, like I just thought, and he was funny, and he just came alive. So it made me want to listen, and I listened to the whole series, and then I noticed, and I looked for his website, and I said, I've got to get a reading. And it was, um, I mean, I still have that first reading, and I still watch it. This is the thing that I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. The internet is wonderful. Um, oh, that's not it. That's not what I meant to do. I'm sorry, guys. It was this, and then we're gonna do spy wheel. I put in sprig.
You want to put Rick in the center and then just change out the outer wheels person by
Um,
person.
Rick. Okay. And then outer is going to be me. Beautiful. Okay. So Rick is in the center. Okay. What I talked about earlier, uh, is right here. So let me get my little pencil out. So what I talked about earlier with it being, to me, it's pretty significant. I'm very much into the nodes, and the people here that come regularly, they know I'm very much into the nodes. This to me was, and in the 11th house, I met him and started working with him in a
Bigger.
group setting.
No, just point
Uh,
closer to what you were trying to show
The
me.
small, the
um,
inner circle is dead. The inner
and
circle is dead.
um, in
It's being
Sagittarius, to
reversed
me,
by
is
the
like
comparative.
uh, w- uh, really just do it. Just don't overthink it. Just do it. Be yourself, and don't, people want to see you be yourself. And one thing about Sagittarius, they're okay with being silly, with being joyful, with being themselves and being funny if they want to, and just having fun with it. This is something that I noticed pretty early on. Um, and then we've got this little bit in these connections, the Piscean connections, uh, which, he always said I was kind of Neptunian. Um, and I also thought that was a pretty prominent planet for him as well, in the way he came across to me anyway. Uh, Neptune, he understood Neptune probably like he understood it very well. I mean, he understood the planets. He understood Pluto and he understood Eris and Neptune really, really well. Not that he didn't the others, but those are really powerful planets that it's not just those buzzwords you hear, and it's not textbook stuff that is like you put it in a box. There's so much more to these planets that we don't even realize. But um it was pretty sticky with him. I mean, sticky meaning once I connected with him, I just really, it was pretty effortless. It was pretty, I just felt like he got me and I understood him in a way, as much as I could. With time, I understood him better and better. And I felt like, boy, am I the luckiest girl ever to get to learn from him. Uh, and I always felt really just honored that he took the time. Time was important to him. He didn't just waste his time with just anything. So I always felt like he's dedicating time. It means something to him, and I took it quite seriously. Um, you're showing me something. Uh, you're showing us something on purpose, Rick. I
Nope,
can't tell. You're
my
just.
finger slipped,
Oh, okay.
and I don't know how to erase it.
Oh no, it's all right. I'll erase it.
Thank you.
Where's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where's Young's?
Let's see. Do I see any other? Oh, look at this. I haven't noticed this one.
Really, Saturn Uranus?
I know.
How do you miss Saturn Uranus?
How did I miss that? Yeah. That's so funny. And you know what, guys? I'm almost sure the moon is full. It's full this week,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be at 13 Cancer. And here we are talking about this. Uh, to me, uh, Saturn in my chart to me is one of the things that it's one of my things I continue to work on. My Saturn in Cancer. I didn't know it was. This is really good. I'm really glad we're doing this. Finding the the balance of both Saturn and then his Uranian energy, like we talked about earlier. In this case, it's him and I. It's not within myself, but that's interesting, and I hadn't noticed that before. Um,
Full moon on the 3rd here.
okay,
So
yeah. So it's
it'll be
tomorrow here.
tomorrow.
Yeah, and the
Is
way
it?
it looked
Yeah.
tonight, it looked like I
Just
always
about there.
just about there.
Yes. It says
Mm-hmm.
it's 97% full here in Australia. So, I mean, I don't know where it reads it from, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting too that that's happening in his sixth house, almost like it was his job to awaken you to an understanding and bring your uh,
Yeah.
life studies forward in how to nurture yourself
Oh,
and how to be your how to pick up where your mother left off
yeah.
because of
Did he
cancer.
Oh
did
boy.
he shake up your preconceptions, Uranus operating on Saturn.
It definitely, he definitely. Well, he
That's what
made
it
me,
looks like. All right.
he helped me question and even be okay with admitting things to myself about my own parenting and the parenting of myself and my own boundaries and how lack thereof too, you know? Uh, and being like fully like on like don't apologize for it. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. The- you gotta, name it if it looks like a snake and walks like, he would help me go, do not hold it in because you're not doing anybody any favors. If this is how you felt, this is okay. And this is how you're gonna highlight something in your life that needs to possibly make an adjustment or change. You're not going to keep it under wraps and think that it's going to change. So, anyway, it was that, Saturn's is a big thing for me in my own chart. So he kind of went like this, he shook me up a little bit in a
Mhm.
really healthy
Yeah.
way that I needed. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
He was constantly telling me to stop apologizing. Saturn
Really?
rules my chart. The way you talk about him rings so familiar. Go on.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Well, we tend to do that, don't we? Well, some of us. So yeah, those are the things that really, for me, were really significant in our connections. And I always kind of felt like there was an easy flow with him which was important because he wasn't going to spend the time on teaching me, and I wasn't going to do it either if there wasn't. But there was naturally, and that's what you want. This is a really important relationship to me. It continues to be. And like I said, I watch his videos, and to me it's just he's very much alive. In my studying, in my life, in my hearing his voice in the back of my head. Um, Rick, do you want me to bring up your chart?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. I
The
haven't looked at
symmetry.
yours and his. But first I've got to find yours.
It's
Um,
been quite a while since I have, and I was
mhm.
looking at a different perspective anyway, something more with asteroids. So I'd like just seeing the
Oh,
basics.
yeah. Um, I don't have the asteroids on my chart.
Yeah, you just have a nice basic chart, which is what I'm curious about.
Okay, we're gonna put Rick in the center. We're gonna put Rick in the outer. Okay. How did you meet him?
You know,
Before
we
I do that.
casually met through Facebook a good bit of years ago, and then
Mhm.
I think our first in-person meeting was in service work to the metaphysical community through a fundraiser called For Kate's Sake, where Pittsburgh metaphysical practitioners were trying to help somebody who had a sudden cancer diagnosis.
Mhm.
So um, we were doing readings for basically surrendering all the funds to the fundraiser. And
Uh-huh.
then, intriguingly, in the past four or 5 years or so, I'm going to check on it sometime. I just happened to send him an interesting thought
Mhm.
on Messenger, and it was just like I felt like he would have interesting perspective on it. It wasn't like I was looking for answers. It was
Mhm.
just like I was exploring my own thoughts, and I wanted to get his thoughts and see where we would run with them. And he didn't answer the question. he responded immediately with, "Would you like to get together by Zoom?" You know, he, and that's where we went. Our intellect was like kids playing in a library, having a ball,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just toying with information, playing with ideas
Mm-hmm.
constantly. It was all something very uh, provocative that we were just engaging in all the time. And he, we just brought out some amazing things in one another. So I'm curious to see how that looks in the chart.
Yeah, let's see. I have not. Have you ever looked at your
I have. It's just
chart?
that I don't remember pinpointing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, your Mars is on his Mars.
Yeah, that clearly, and in his space of spirituality and mine in the place of thought,
Mm-hmm.
as well as thinking, communication, total
Mm-hmm.
sense there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, yeah. Big time.
and then my Mercury is not too far from his south node.
Yes. That's a to me that is that similarity, no, that connection to um it's leaning
Thought,
Virgo. Uh the
because my Mercury is
learning.
in connecting to his south node in Virgo, so
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely showing us having a place in thought. And par for the course, rectifying this towards his chart, his eighth house, it's like we were constantly having deep conversations.
I know, which is, I think that's why you enjoyed your time with him so much, and I know it was mutual. Uh, once you find an astrology buddy,
Hmm.
because you don't have a lot of it. I don't like, I mean, I just when I went to see Liza and then she understood what I was talking about. I talked to Rick, I understand that he understands what I'm talking about, and it's just delightful. Um, so I know you and him could really run with things, in a
Yeah, and
chart.
interestingly enough, too, my vertex is at 1 degree Capricorn, which was in orb of his Chiron.
Mm.
I don't see that you have included his vertex in here.
No,
Well, it's such
neither one of yours. So can you remind us what the vertex is about? Because I don't remember.
oh my goodness. It is such a point of destiny. It
Wow.
where the connection of the vertex
Mm-hmm.
intersects
Mm-hmm.
shows connections that are um, important relationships that
Mm.
there are. So intriguingly, he and I both independently, not knowing one another, really came into looking at astrology as Chiron was being discovered. That we were both starting at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the anti-vertex
Uh-huh.
connects where there is a space that you'll have a connection that because of the the person represented by the planet, not the anti-vertex,
Uh-huh.
will lead you into an event that is somehow connected with your destiny. So you may
Wow.
have an incredible opportunity
Mm-hmm.
or a mind shocking revelation, some
Right.
understanding, some rabbit hole experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fun stuff.
I wish I would have put the vertex on my chart. That's a big deal.
I think so, especially
Yeah.
for Sinistry.
Yeah.
But
It's
that
a, it's a,
Libra connection with the Mars, yeah, I mean, I was always connecting with making my strong thoughts balance out politely.
I think you do that. We talked about that earlier this week. You do,
Yeah,
yes.
funny how that works. So he and I shared that delicacy.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'm glad we looked at that because now that you're making me want to go look at the anti-vertex. I now I remember the vertex, but the anti-vertex to me is probably just
Yeah,
as
it's directly
significant.
opposite.
Yeah, yeah.
Vertex.
So, I wanted to give the an opportunity to either Anne or Eric, um, if they want to share any words about Rick, if they want to, feel no pressure at all. But I know that obviously, Anne, you knew him well. Um, Eric, welcome. I don't think we've met before, and if we have, I apologize because I don't remember. But I don't know if you knew Rick personally, but if you did, I'd love to hear about it or how you met Rick.
Hi there. Thank you so much. I had only met Rick once or twice,
Hmm.
and he drew me in. I met him through Rick and Kempe, and I'd only met him once or twice, and he just drew me in. But I feel like I have missed such an opportunity. So Rick invited me here tonight to listen and hear the stories. I'm hoping that in the future, folks could do um, a kind of a compilation, and a way to honor him and explain to people like me who have missed the opportunity to get to know him. Thank you.
Well,
That's
I
going to be a
couldn't.
fun thing.
Yes, I didn't have it ready for tonight because I needed to talk to our friend John here. He's not here, but there's a video that if you're interested in, Eric, there is that I would share the link with you, and it's a lot of the people that are dear to him, his students, his friends, his family. Last year we put together, and I think it'll show you. It highlights exactly who Rick was from the people that really knew him very well, and it's a good flavor for you to get an idea of who this man. You know, I should have realized everybody that came in contact with him felt like like they were special. And it sounds almost cheesy when I say it, but it's true. I met all these people and they all felt like he loved them. And that's such a simple thing to say, but it's how many people can you say this man really made an impact on my life. This is not many, like this is very special. So I felt honored that he would spend the time with me. And I knew that these people meant it, all of them, whether they were a neighbor, a friend, a niece, anybody, a student. Um,
You're not
it's a
alone
very,
in that surprise because I remember our first uh, resuming of Unplugged after he had passed.
mhm.
We had a memorial episode, and as people were sharing, one individual, um, it might have been Stephen, and he said, "I used to think
Oh
that I
yeah,
was the only one that felt
I
that way."
know.
And here it's every single person.
Yes.
He was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was quite funny.
A very loving soul, a very loving soul. I'm really glad you were all here with us tonight. Thank you, Liza, and thank you, everybody. And I need to give Anne uh, space to share whatever you want to share, Anne. Please.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that when Rick and I met, he was an artist. He played guitar. He did a lot of performances with singers, with other musicians, and he was a filmmaker. That was right after he had moved back home to Wheeling after Apple Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until later he got into computers.
Mm-hmm.
He was a wonderful woodworker. Um, he was good at every single thing he did. Soon after I met him, like a month later, I joined his astrology class. And this was just before he had his first radio show, the Saturday morning astrology show. And he was great in the classroom. He brought everything down to earth, not lofty, just down to earth. Lots of examples. He was very thorough. Then, when he started his radio show, people would just call in and give him a birth date. Most of them didn't have a birth time. And he would just do a reading like that on the spot.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone else who could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this was long before he was into harmonics and all of that. But he just had a knack for tuning in to that person, to their chart,
Mm-hmm.
and speaking some sort of truth, some type of truth. I always called him the way shower, and he loved that name for himself. And I think that's who he truly, truly was. And I watched him grow, took all of his astrology classes, listened to every single radio show, and just watched him grow. And he was impassioned by astrology and spirituality from the moment I met him. Just a genuine soul, a master teacher, and my best friend. I just appreciate all of you carrying on his legacy. That means so much. And I think I can say the same. Taylor feels the same, that we are so lucky. We're so fortunate, so blessed that not only did he bequeath us all with such a legacy, but that all of you are carrying it forth. So thank you. Thank you so much. The reason I don't tune in on Thursday nights is I have choir practice on Thursday nights. I'm a musician, with the exception of tonight since it's New Year's Day. So thank you for all you do. I watch you on on YouTube afterwards. Thank you all.
Well, I don't think I can say anything else. I think that you pretty much
Thank you so
said
much,
it
Anne.
perfectly. Thank you,
Oh,
Anne.
thank you all. Thank you all.
It has been a great joy because we get to feel him alive and in the conversation when we interact in this space. And his energy feels like it continues to like tweak at us and pull out different thoughts, because I know that's how he and I interacted. And I like to think, I do think that if I don't understand something and my higher self and guides are trying to get it through to me and it's not working, when I get into conversation with the right person, I think they're going to have their guides and higher self say, hey, Rick really needs to understand something. And they just say the right words. And it's like, oh my God, wow. And I feel like I did that for him as well. We would play on one another. It was just incredible the way our conversations energized us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It lit us up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Liz.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick.
I'm sure wherever he is, he's aware of what's happening in this little group tonight, and he's very happy about it. He loved you guys so much, every single one of you here. He loved you, and he's so glad you're carrying on his spirit and his work, and I am too on his behalf. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liza.
So glad you were all here.
I'm grateful
And
too.
happy birthday,
Thanks.
Rick.
Thanks.
And it
Happy
is
birthday,
happy
Dad.
because wherever he is, you know he's smiling. I always have this visual of him. I don't know why. I just have this visual of him. It's so silly, but it's funny and silly, where he's just leaning back, almost like you're floating on water, and he's just leaning back. He has this huge smile on his face, and he's wearing a yellow shirt. I don't know why. It's just what I envision. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you next time. Jane, Happy New
Yeah.
Year.
Thank you.
And everybody
On the
else, thank
second.
you for joining us and enjoy the
Yeah,
full
lots of
moon.
love.
And just for the
Yeah,
heads
lots of
up,
love. Yep.
just
Thank
the
you,
one
everybody.
housekeeping thing. One housekeeping thing. We're going to be having a different link that will be loading for the next episode. I will get that generated and get that out there in about the next week, and I will put it on the Astrology Unplugged webpage so that we can continue as we go forward. And if anybody can think of things to contribute to the next episode, we're going to talk about different things we may have learned from Rick.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Rick.
Everyone.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Take care, all.
Thank you,
Happy
everyone.